As a bedside critical care nurse for the last 10 years working in the pandemic, I know that major change in our healthcare system is not going to happen overnight. But why should we be forced to just deal with it in the meantime? What if there was research out there supporting a way to deal with stress? There is. Today, I'm going to take you through stress, how your body responds chemically, energetically, and what we can do about it. Stress response starts in the brain. The activation of your sympathetic nervous system is initiated, that fight or flight response, which was great when we were Neanderthal humans being chased by lions. The stress response starts in the amygdala, or the area of the brain that contributes to emotional processing. Emotions are actually a chemical response that is created due to previous memories associated with that feeling of stress. It sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus, which activates the sympathetic nervous system. Then it's like a gas pedal, which moves the signal to the adrenal glands. These glands respond by releasing epinephrine into the bloodstream. What effects does epinephrine have on the body? That's correct. Increased heart rate, bronchodilation, oxygen shunting to the brain. Epinephrine triggers the release of blood sugar and fats into the body. They were designed to give us an extra boost of energy when we needed it, but we live in a constant state of stress. The glucose hangs around. After epi is triggered, the hypothalamus activates the second part of the stress response, the HPA axis, or the network of the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and the adrenal glands. These hormones are like green lights and keep the gas pedal of the car down. The hypothalamus then releases corticotropin, releasing hormone, which goes to the pituitary gland, signaling the production of ACTH. This is where we release cortisol. Cortisol increases blood sugar, holds onto fat, weakens activity of the immune system, counteracts insulin, reduces bone formation leading to osteoporosis, shifts potassium and sodium, and changing the pH, directly affecting the polarity of your amino acid chains. It directly affects your makeup and energy biofield. Cortisol also works with adrenaline to create memories of short-term emotional events. Long-term exposure to cortisol even changes cells in the hippocampus. So now that you know living in a sympathetic fight and flight situation is bad for us, what do? Mental weight training. The training we receive as nurses is designed for patient outcome, quality, and to save lives. No one has taught us to respond to stress in an effective way. Mindfulness begins with breathing at home. Let's use the analogy of lifting weights. The stressors at home are sometimes less heavy than the life or death situations we deal with at work. If we can practice inhibiting the initial hormone cascades through mindfulness or focused breathing at home, we're essentially practicing with small weights. Then when we're at work and the weight or stressor is much heavier, we have the body mechanics to better manage the weight. The easiest thing that I have been doing lately is trying to take 3 deep breaths. My favorite time to actually do this is at the Pyxis, or the medication machine, when you have to log in and you put your fingerprint. I purposely stop thinking about anything for just that one breath it takes for the Pyxis to read my fingerprint. I don't get frustrated when the machine doesn't read my fingerprint. I say okay, I guess I need to take another breath. I take a second to just breathe. Let go of the thoughts of how sick my patient is, how much poop I have to go clean, or what the resident just ordered. Another opportunity I've been finding to deep breathe and slow some brain waves at work is while I'm donning or doffing PPE. I've also done it while I'm QCing the glucometer. I've done it while zeroing an A-line. I've also encouraged others to deep breathe with me. We just do what we can in the moment. It's not a time to reflect on the past mistakes or things you missed. It's not a time to think about you having to call his or her loved one and give them the news. You're present in the now. You're present with your breath. If you practice coming to the present in a non-stressful situation, it allows you to do so in a stressful situation. I've worked at several large institutions that also utilize mindful moments. A charge nurse will say, okay, everyone, let's take a moment to just take a deep breath. Have a moment of quietness for a few seconds. At first, it might sound silly, but it works. This module is possibly the most important piece that we're going to talk about, because I feel like as a nurse, there's so much responsibility and pressure for duty, for your oath that you take care of your patients. But what about you? What about everything that's going on with us right now? We are listening to you. We hear you. That's the whole reason for this whole program, is the idea that you are important. And all of the techniques that we've given you in these videos are nothing if you don't choose you and choose to make the decision to use them.